A man with an unconscious boy in his arms walked outside as the whole building was in total destruction. He walked past with a smile of victory as if it was something he had been longing for a long time. In Min's mansion, the pretty boy woke up as he slid the duvet and stretched out his arms. He turned his face left and then right, searching for something, but when he couldn't find the desirable thing, thick tears slipped out of his eyes, immediately followed by his heart sobbing. A man, wrapping a towel around his waist, came rushing out of the washroom as he heard the cries. His eyes fell on that heavenly gorgeous beauty, and he made his way to him, but not before realizing that the grown-up-looking boy seemed to have lost something. Yoongi making himself comfortable behind him. What's wrong? Himmin turned back, sniffing hard. Yoongi's heart dropped as he felt like he had lost all of his senses. He began to stare at his angelic face. Himmin sobbing, "My Bobo," Yoongi confused, staring, "Bobo?" Himmin crying, "You tore my Bobo." Yoongi shook his head in denial as he realized what the actual matter was. Himmin hitting his chest, "You're bad." Yoongi catching his hands, "What's Bobo? We'll buy a new Bobo for you." Himmin excited, "Really?" Yoongi nodded his head. Himmin standing up on the bed, "Let's go." Yoongi, "Tomorrow, sleep now." Himmin crying again, "No." Yoongi, okay, we're going now." Himmin jumping on his bed, "Yay." Yoongi, "Hey, stop, you'll break my bed." Himmin's gonna buy a new Bobo. Yoongi, "I will not take you like this." Himmin stopped jumping, "Himmin, let's go." Yoongi shook his head, then he got up and forwarded his hand. Yoongi, "Come down." Himmin held his hand and came down. At 3 a.m. in the car, Yoongi, "What does Bobo look like?" Himmin, "Bobo is pretty, healthy, and he plays with me, cut off." Yoongi, "I mean, what actually is Bobo?" Himmin innocently, "Bobo is Bobo." Yoongi slapped his forehead in frustration. Himmin, "Bobo is prettier than you." Yoongi turned to him in shock. Himmin gave him a big smile. Yoongi shook his head and turned back to driving after a while. Yoongi, "Is Bobo a stuffed toy? Is it a teddy bear?" Himmin, "Bobo will hate you." Yoongi, "Let him be." Himmin starts crying. Ha ha. "Bobo." Yoongi, okay, relax. "I'm gonna get you a Bobo." Himmin crying, "Bobo." Then Yoongi sped up his car and reached the desired location. They stepped out. The shutter rolled up, revealing a big market full of stuffed toys. Himmin chirped in happiness upon seeing it. Yoongi, "Find your Bobo, and then we'll head back." Himmin rushed inside crazily. "Alex, the shopkeeper." At this time, Yoongi hummed, speechless. "Alex, is he all right?" Yoongi, little space. Alex nodded. After half an hour, Himmin came out, dragging almost 10 toys with him. He smiled at Yoongi. Yoongi depressed at the sight of the toys. "Are these all Bobo?" Himmin, "No, he is Dodo pointing at the monkey. He is Bobo pointing at the teddy. He is Whoopi pointing at the giraffe." Interrupted. Yoongi, okay, let's go now." Himmin chirped, "Yay." He was about to drag the toys, but he stopped at Yoongi's voice. Yoongi, "Hey, don't. They'll come to us soon." Yoongi to Alex, "Ship them." Himmin, "Bobo, raising the teddy." Yoongi internally, why did I bring him with me? He's gonna fill my mansion with toys. Yoongi nodded and walked to open the door for him. In their room, Haemin sat beside Yoongi on the bed while Yoongi was busy with his laptop. He had tried to keep Haemin in a separate room, but every time he left, Haemin would start shrieking. Haemin, I'm missing Mimi, Yoongi frustrated. Now, who's she? Haemin crying, you gave her to that uncle? Yoongi, okay, she's on her way. Our bell will ring soon, and they'll be here. Haemin, really, Dada? Yoongi was shocked but nodded with an assuring smile. After a while, Haemin fell asleep, hugging Bobo, while Yoongi gently ran his fingers through his hair. Yoongi, I thought, how will a boy live alone? Never thought it was a baby, he chuckled. Yoongi, my prettiest problem now. He placed a soft kiss on Haemin's forehead and then went to sleep after, placing his laptop on the side table. Next day, Haemin woke up and saw Yoongi sitting on the couch in front of him. Yoongi chuckling, did you sleep well, Dodo's friend? Haemin in a serious tone, who are you and who's Dodo? He glared at him. Yoongi, oh. Haemin raised his brow. Yoongi got busy with his work again. Haemin, I asked you something? Yoongi raised his brow. Haemin, who's Dodo? And why am I here? Yoongi, I brought you here. Haemin, why? Yoongi, trying to do a good deed. Haemin, where's my brother? Yoongi, oh, the one who was willing to kill you. I killed him. Haemin glared at him. Yoongi, that was our personal matter. Haemin nodded. Yoongi, are you really out of your little space? Or were you never in it? Haemin, oh, please. Yoongi, you forgot your Dodo too. That's pitiless. Haemin taking the teddy. Is he Dodo now? Yoongi hummed. Haemin, he's cute. Yoongi, yeah. Thank God you didn't repeat yourself. Haemin, what did I say earlier? Yoongi nodded. Haemin, I must have annoyed you a lot. Sorry for that, Yoongi. That's my mistake. I shouldn't have brought you. Haemin, you're regretting it. Yoongi, not now. Haemin, that won't last long. I'll turn annoying again. Yoongi, is that your two faces? Haemin, he threw Dodo at him. Yoongi chuckled, catching it with his left hand. Evening time, Yoongi was busy bathing when he looked at the door and screamed at the top of his lungs. Haemin rushed outside, startled. Yoongi breathless, how did he get here? Then he rushed to lock the door, which he had forgotten, as on usual days, there was no one except him in the mansion, so no maid or guard ever dared to enter his room. After a while, he came outside and saw Haemin sitting on the floor with his Bobo. Yoongi walked past him but stopped when he heard Haemin while checking Dodo from below. Dodo, you don't have a tap. Yoongi turned to look at him. Haemin making a crying face. Jiminy doesn't even have it. Yoongi gulped. Yoongi, Jiminy, Haemin looked at him. Yoongi, aren't you hungry? Haemin, Dodo, are you hungry? Yoongi shook his head. Haemin forwarding Dodo to him. Dodo is sad. Hug him. Yoongi nodded and took Dodo in his arms, hugging him tightly. A big smile beamed on Haemin's face. He got up and hugged them. Yoongi hugged him back, shaking his head. At 8 p.m., Yoongi came out of the mansion, followed by Haemin. He stopped near his car, and Haemin approached him. Yoongi softly, Haemin, I'm going for a meeting, baby. Him excited. Gemini is coming with data. Yoongi, no. Him made a sad, crying face. Yoongi, him no. I can't risk taking you there. Him crying. Dada doesn't love me. Yoongi, no, Dada loves you. Him innocently, then show me. Yoongi nodded in disbelief. Him, you don't know that I will show you, Dada. He moved forward and placed his lips on Yoongi's, making Yoongi stumble back in shock. Him with a big smile. This is love. Yoongi was speechless. He sighed. Him, Dodo, let's go now. Then he sat inside the car. Yoongi didn't say anything and drove off to Min's empire. In his office, Yoongi was in a meeting with his new business partner, Emma, while Himmin sat on the couch in the corner. Meanwhile, his PA stood behind him, keeping an eye on Himmin as per Yoongi's instructions. Emma, when are you planning to check the designs? Yoongi, they aren't ready, I thought. Himmin yelling out, Dada, Yoongi and Emma were shocked as they turned to look at Himmin. Emma smiled at Himmin's childish behavior, while Yoongi got embarrassed. Himmin grinning, Dodo wants to pee. Yoongi turned pale with embarrassment, gulping as Emma tried to suppress her laughter. Himmin, Dada. Yoongi hummed, Himmin, Dodo can't pee. Yoongi hummed again, fully embarrassed. Himmin, you wanna pee? Yoongi, no baby. Himmin, no, Dada will do it in place of Dodo. Emma couldn't hold it anymore and laughed hard. Yoongi turned to her and bit his lip, utterly embarrassed. Emma laughing hard, okay, I'm sorry. Meanwhile, his PA was also trying his best not to laugh. Himmin bursting into tears. Dada doesn't listen to me. Yoongi, okay, I'm going. Then he left for the washroom, knowing he couldn't win against Himmin. The others burst into laughter. That night, Himmin annoyed him a lot and eventually fell asleep in his arms. After finishing his work, Yoongi took him home. Time skip next day. Almost evening, Himmin was standing beside the pool. Yoongi returned to the mansion and saw him from afar. A smile covered his lips as he made his way toward him. Yoongi came behind him silently and hugged him suddenly, whirling him around, Himmin gasping, ah. They both ended up in the pool as the floor was wet and Yoongi's foot slipped. Yoongi ruffled his hair, coming up, Himmin moving his head up, ah. Yoongi chuckled at him, feeling relaxed since he was good at swimming. He immediately pulled Himmin by his waist, making him bump into his chest. Himmin breathed hard as his eyes met Yoongi's. His breathing slowed as his eyes started closing. As soon as Yoongi realized his condition, he slammed his lips on Himmin's, shocking him. Smooching his lips, Yoongi smiled, lost in the kiss that was supposed to help Himmin breathe. He bit Himmin's lower lip, squeezing his waist. Himmin moaned out his name. Getting into the rhythm, Yoongi explored his whole mouth. After a while, he moved back. Yoongi, all right, Himmin in a deep voice, not now. He leaned over and attacked Yoongi's lips. Out of breath, they finally parted, Yoongi in a deep, husky voice, flicking his chin. Gemini? Himmin, Dada, Yoongi burst into laughter and pulled him into a hug. The end.